Hey everybody, it's Atheist for the Cause here, and I am so angry right now. Incredibly angry. I'm trying to level my emotions while I do this because, man, this is straight up treason by CNN. And I try not to say that too much, but I don't know what else you call this. And I hope there are lawsuits, and I hope CNN is put into the fucking ground because the proof is there now. Project Veritas comes out with the video. It says American bravada, CNN producer says Russia narrative bullshit. Now this is only the first video, he said, and there are more coming. Let's watch.
Then why is CNN constantly like Russia this, Russia that?
Because it's ratings.
Because it's ratings?
Our ratings are incredible right now.
But honestly,
You know what's funny is like we've seen so much where CNN's ratings, while they think he's saying they're incredible, like Fox News is getting better ratings and stuff like that. So there is another comment to marry incredible ratings with actually not as good ratings. So I'll wait to comment on that.
I think the whole Russia shit is just like bullshit.
Could be bullshit. I mean, it's mostly bullshit right now. Like, we don't have any big giant proof. I just feel like they don't really have it, but they want to keep digging.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the president is probably right to say, like, look, you are witch hunting me. Like, you have no smoking gun. You have no real proof.
So, John Bonifield, CNN supervising producer, claims that the president is right to say that CNN is witch hunting him. That it is a witch hunt, that the Russia narrative is a fucking witch hunt. This is disgusting. This is treason. They know what they're doing. They are literally out potentially starting a war with Russia with this false narrative. It hasn't led to a war yet, but they are creating a climate where a war could happen. They are attacking a foreign entity based on bullshit. And they are attacking the president of the United States based on bullshit. This like if this isn't treason, what is?
And the CEO of CNN said in our internal meeting, he said, "Good job, everybody, covering the climate accords. But we're done with it. Let's get back to Russia."
Then why is CNN?
Yeah, didn't you wonder why the climate accords didn't get more coverage? You know, that could have been a big thing for them. It's kind of funny though, where I think Trump kind of won the debate on that. People realized, you know, we're paying hundreds of billions of dollars for a non-binary agreement, and I don't think they wanted to explain that. But at the same time, they could have spun it as Trump is anti-climate, and they only did for like a day and a half where they really could have hammered it. And now we know why. Because they wanted the ratings from a literally false narrative and false news story that Trump colluded with Russia and all of the other Russia bullshit.
Constantly like Russia this, Russia that.
You know what's really messed up about this? Is that there actually is some stuff about Russia. And it's that they actually did hack in to some registration databases, and they didn't mess with anything, but I think they're just seeing how far they could get and if they would be seen. And so now this is gonna put that into question. But we pretty much know that's true because like the Illinois Board of Elections director, you know, his people found it, and he's the one that was saying, you know, that there was hacking, although he did say that we don't know it's Russia because of the IPs, but right now it seems that the government thinks it's Russia. And even Trump has said that it's probably Russia. But I think it's interesting that that might not even have been Russia. The IPs were from the Netherlands. So, and also other places too, I think. But the IP, they could have been proxy IPs.
But honestly, you think the whole Russia shit is just like bullshit?
It's mostly bullshit right now. Like, we don't have any...
It's mostly bullshit right now.
Giant proof.
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Because of the attack of fake news and attacking our network, I just want to ask you, sir.
I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine...
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you...
That'll make me a little happier because I remember that, and I will... The way he said that, the CNN guy was like struggling to get out his comment, and he's like, while that guy was stuttering, he was like, I'm changing it from fake news, though, you know. It's very fake news. And the whole crowd, all of the media laughed. Even though, you know, they come up with all this bullshit, the entire media laughed. But you know what really pisses me off about this? Is that this is the candidate I voted for. And they're actually splitting the country, and there are all kinds of violence. I mean, people are getting shot. Where are the ethics here? And I've lost friends because I voted for Trump, and they cite CNN and other mainstream media. You know, they're not extreme progressives, but they're between a liberal and a progressive, I would say, like right on that border. And I went to college with them, and they're like, you know, Drew, you've just gone off the deep end, and you know, everything's a conspiracy to you now, and I'm just like, you know, and they're like, I can't talk to you anymore. And I lost like around three friends that were all in the same group because I was too conspiratorial to be hanging out with. And so they're doing real harm to real people, and you know, they're trying to make my vote matter less. I mean, if they actually succeed in this witch hunt and get the public to turn against them, against Trump, I mean, that could set to the stage for to put in a bunch of Democrats who then, you know, impeach Trump based on bullshit. Because it's completely political. What's to stop a completely false impeachment? And that would set such a horrible precedent to that parties would just start impeaching all the time. And this, like, there could be very serious consequences down the road if CNN is to succeed. Thankfully, they're failing.
Even if Russia was trying to swing an election, we try to swing their elections. We're in our CIA and doing shit all the time.
Fake news. We start our American Pravda investigations inside America's media with part one, CNN. Our goal is to expose the real motivations behind the decision-making process at our dominant media corporations. Fake news. One story has monopolized President Trump's time in office like no other, especially on CNN. Russia. In fact, since the inauguration, CNN has mentioned Russia on their air nearly 16,000 times.
Jesus Christ, that is so many times.
So we sent our undercover reporters inside CNN to understand why, and to determine if CNN even believes that the story is even real. You're not going to believe what you're about to hear, or maybe you will. I'd like to introduce you to CNN's...
I love these Project Veritas videos. I mean, say what you want. They give long enough selections that this is not selective editing. It's pretty clear that they're actually catching wrongdoing. You know, like there were those undercover videos for Planned Parenthood and stuff. I think those actually were largely hit pieces. Like they took people out of context and took very small clips and stuff. But but whatever you think about that, like Project Veritas is so much better than those videos, and I think it's real interesting that people try to say that the credibility of Project Veritas isn't there.
Supervising producer John Bonifield in Atlanta.
So you believe like the Russia thing's a little crazy, right?
Even if Russia was trying to swing an election, we try to swing their elections. We're in our CIA and doing shit all the time. Like we're out there trying to manipulate governments. Like you win because you know the game and you play it right. She didn't play it right.
Then why CNN constantly like
Exactly. Now I think it should be a little more ethical than that, but this guy's pretty much right that when it comes to politics, you know, it's far less ethical than we would like it to be, and it's basically here's the game, play it, and do anything you can to win. And Hillary didn't play the game well, but she was even being unethical, and she had everything in her favor, so it's amazing.
Russia this, Russia that?
Because it's ratings.
Because it's ratings?
Our ratings are incredible right now.
In the month of May, CNN's ratings...
I'm gonna say this. This is like the old... This is one of those economic problems where it's an old one where they're going for a short-term gain, but it is gonna destroy them long-term because nobody is going to trust them after this.
Were significantly higher than they were the year before. The Russia story and Trump have made CNN millions.
Because of
so my boss, I shouldn't say this. My boss a couple days yesterday.
When they say I shouldn't say this, you know you've got them. Like something good is gonna come.
Having a discussion about this dental shoot, and he's like, I just want you to know what we're up against here. And he goes, just to give you some context, President Trump pulled out of the climate accords, and for a day and a half we covered the climate accords, and the CEO of CNN said in our internal meeting, he said, good job everybody covering the climate accords, but we're done with it, let's get back to Russia.
the CEO?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So even the climate accords, he was like, okay, a day or so, but we're moving back to Russia.
So, ever know what it's like for these people to work for CNN? That's what it's like. Basically, they're told to cover one story, and that's what they gotta do.
Bonifield says CNN's CEO Jeff Zucker demanded that his news channel get back to the ratings winner that Russia is for CNN. Was that an editorial call or a business call?
So I understand it's all ratings, right?
Oh, it's a business. It's a business. People are like, the media has like an ethical... But all the nice cutesy little ethics that used to get talked about in journalism school, you're just like, that's adorable. That's adorable. Yeah, this is a business. Especially cable news, you know. Cable news isn't the New York Times, and it's not even like NBC News. I mean, NBC News still gets 20 million viewers a night. Cable news is getting 1 million.
See, and now that, if I'm going to go back a couple seconds, this is what I was talking about. Remember when, so we've been hearing that CNN is struggling, but we've also been hearing that, you know, they're saying that they've actually got good ratings compared to before. Now, a way to marry that is that they are doing better than they used to do. But as cable news, they're still really struggling because cable news in general is really struggling.
News still gets 20 million viewers a night. Cable news is getting 1 million. So, like they gotta do what they gotta do to make their money, I think. And so I love the news business, but
I find it so
I'm
fascinating.
very cynical about it. At the same time, so are most of my colleagues. So,
Yeah, it's like
I'm not alone.
Bonifield has worked for CNN as...
It's just, you know, then why don't these people get up and do something? But why don't they leak? And I don't know how they're with this guy. I mean, this is an undercover thing, so he's not really leaking it. But why don't these people go out and leak it to the public? And sure, they'd get fired, but you know, they would be heroes, and I'm sure they could get a job making tons of money somewhere else, because they'd be so popular. It just doesn't... you know, you just wish there'd be some people that stand up for what's right, when all of the people within CNN pretty much, I don't want to say all, but many of them are very quote-unquote cynical about it, because they know this is bullshit.
As a journalist and producer for nearly 15 years, he not only gave us a tour of CNN's main newsroom, he gave us a window into the editorial bias and anti-Trump agenda of the organization.
I think that there are a lot of like liberal CNN viewers who want to see Trump really get scrutinized, and I think if we would have behaved that way with President Obama and scrutinized everything that he was doing with as much scrutiny as we applied to Donald Trump, I think our viewers would have been turned off. I think they would have thought like we were attacking him. But I think our viewers right now, and I'm not saying all of our viewers are like super liberals. I think there's just
No, not at all.
a lot of them, and
Yeah, he's actually, I'm laughing at him, but he's actually probably right. Like, there's a lot of, he calls them super liberals, and I think he's referring to the regressives. It's just kind of funny.
so Trump's good for business, you're saying?
Trump is good for business right now.
But honestly, you think the whole Russia shit is just like bullshit.
Could be
Jesus, how much does this guy drink? Before he was drinking out of that cup, but now he's got a different cup. It's like this whole fucking time he's been drinking something.
bullshit. I mean, it's mostly bullshit right now. Like, we don't have any big giant proof. But then they say, well, there's still an investigation going on. And you're like, yeah. I don't know. If you were finding something, we'd know about it. The way these...
And this is a good point. He's talking about the government now. And so the government is doing all these investigations. And I've argued that it's because it was obstructionist. And then what the Democrats are trying to do is shut down the government so Trump can't get his agenda through. And there were actually Democrats who had wrongdoing, and so they're trying to clutter up the investigations, the investigation time. So, you know, by investigating Trump on all this stuff, look how much time we've wasted, and they're still going on, and we haven't even gotten to like Loretta Lynch yet. That's just starting, but there's a lot of wrongdoing there.
Leaks happen, they'd leak it. It'd leak. If it was
Yeah, so not even CNN employees believe this shit.
something really good, it would leak.
Yeah. It would have leaked before voting, I would say.
Well,
If anything was good out there, it would have came out already.
Yeah, the leaks keep leaking, and there's so many great leaks, and it's amazing, and I just refuse to believe that if they had something really good like that, that wouldn't leak, because we've been getting all these other leaks, so I just feel like they don't really have it, but they want to keep digging.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the president is probably right to say, like, look, you are witch hunting me. Like, you have no smoking gun, you have no real proof.
No real proof, he said.
That may have been some of the, one of the best statements to point to, deep state interference, because they're getting all these leaks and there's still no proof, and they're getting, great leaks, but we know a lot of these leaks are coming from the deep state. Like, for crying out loud, Comey himself has leaked. He admitted to leaking. And, Loretta Lynch was helping to cover up and obstruct for Hillary Clinton. So, when she met Bill Clinton and for Hillary Clinton's campaign. So this is really interesting stuff.
He says, and that speaks volumes about today's mainstream media. Bonifield says CNN loves the Russia story not because it's true, but because people want it to be true. They're feeding their audience a false narrative in order to get ratings. Their enthusiasm to report false news is getting the better of them. On Saturday, CNN imposed strict internal restrictions on all future Russia stories after they had to delete and retract a story that was poorly sourced. And yesterday, 3 CNN staffers resigned, victims of fake news. So where does that leave us? The American people are fed up with fake news, and the mainstream media they cannot trust. It's corporate greed, market pressures, managers without integrity.
And that's what I said, earlier, that it's the old problem. You'll temporarily get a boost because people are hate watching you, but then those hate watchers are eventually gonna leave, and the people who actually liked you, they're gonna start, when the truth comes out, they're gonna start seeing it, and they're gonna get pissed off and leave. And now they're coming out with, I did a video on this too, where they actually came out with faulty articles where they had to retract them. And there could be legal issues there because they're saying they basically slandered people, where they said that someone in the Trump campaign was connected to Russia and he wasn't.
Newsroom bosses without courage.
I think what actually happened there is they went after the wrong person. And so, like, the good little peons were doing their, they were doing their thing, covering Russian Trump. And so they connected this guy who's in the Trump campaign. They connected him to Russia, and then the heads were like, oh shit, not him.
Journalists who don't even leave their desks. The very purpose of journalism is to expose the world for what it is, not to create false political narratives in order to make money. The American people are frustrated because they have nowhere left to go to get actual information. This is just part 1 of the CNN series. We have so...
And it is actually true. Like, I remember warning about this couple years ago, I guess it was, or maybe a year ago. I was investigating Pizzagate, and I came across this article where it said that in 2010, nobody was in Haiti during the earthquake, and so they were actually like, all they were doing was taking average people and like taking their information as fact, and then like going off of that and telling the public whatever these people said. And I'm like, well, what if they do that on other stuff, and like they don't really have the journalists in the field anymore, they have all these CNN eye reporters and stuff. They're just average people with with a cell phone camera a lot of times, and it's like, well, what, this isn't exactly a high journalistic standard. Now, it's fine, I comment and stuff, and I'm no journalist, but I don't put myself off as a journalist. And I'm sure I'll do some citizen investigation and stuff, but I don't pretend to be a professional journalist. And this is what professional journalism has been reduced to. We don't have professional journalists anymore. I mean, outside of a few, I would consider, James O'Keefe and of Project Veritas. He's showing that he's still going to be a real journalist, and there are people like Tim Pool who I think are actual journalists, but I think Cassie J, she's a documentary filmmaker, but she went out and got a bunch of information and put it into a documentary, and I think she's closer to it, what an actual journalist is now as a documentary filmmaker, then because she made The Red Pill, then and documentary filmmakers in general are closer to what a journalist is than mainstream media like CNN. And I don't think they realize the damage this can do to society, because it's really hard for a society to depend on, credible, important information now. And that's why people are going to, channels like YouTube channels to get their news now, because you have to take information and compare it to a bunch of other information and a bunch of other stories to get the truth, and it's really hard to figure out what the truth is at this point, because there just aren't enough credible journalists in the field.
So much more that we will bring you on video as our American Pravda investigations continue. Every dishonest television network, newspaper, and social media company is now on notice. You're being watched. We're coming after you. And while the whole broken, rotten media machine may not come tumbling down, maybe they'll wake up.
They have to be scared shitless. Because what happened with CNN there? And the CNN had to have known something like this was coming, because they released like a ton of hours of footage, and then they asked people to go through it and type what was being transcribed, everything, so that they could go through the information. They basically crowdsourced it. It was pretty interesting. And so if you actually follow James O'Keefe and keep up on Project Veritas, it's possible, when they post help, asking for help, you could get involved, because there's some pretty easy stuff that you can do. It's just grunt work, and you can be a part of this. So I think this is pretty interesting stuff, but I never expected that Project Veritas would come out with such damning stuff, and this is only the first one. He said there's going to be more, and usually they start with something pretty good and then it gets better. So I cannot wait to see what's coming, and I can promise you I'm covering all of them. So I'll talk to you guys later.